Hey there! Exactly 3 years ago is when I decided to try a solo playthrough, and this little Viking was created. She got thrown into the tent world, and in it, she found a place to call home. This video will focus on that home and how it evolved and grew over these past 3 years. It might not be for everyone, I'm well aware, but it's something I wanted to share with you all. So grab a mug shake, sit back, and let's go through this journey together. This was my very first screenshot in my first house, so we will start from here. And this is me now. It's been quite a while. This house was pre-built and close to the starting stones, so I just took over for the first few days. I had done a playthrough before, but not on my own, so this was kind of scary and challenging. It was only about a month after Valheim launched, so everything was still very new. It was also my first survival game. This house was too close to the Black Forest, so I went exploring to find a better location. And this is where I found my true house. And it's still my house. I just love the 3 raspberry bushes right outside, and I've done my best to preserve them over the years, and guess what? They're still there. This is how the house grew over the first year of gameplay. I picked a spot for my character to always stand in and take pics to record my own progress. I had no idea back then that I will end up making Valheim videos. Sometimes. So this was just for me and my entertainment. And this is the base now. I found this runestone nearby and named this place Cute Spot, and it still has that exact same pin name. Except now it's a shrine to Odin. I fell in love with this valley the first time I saw it and knew I'd make something there someday. Now it's a tavern and a marketplace. Marketplace tour soon? Question mark? This is a fun one, my Eikthyr altar. This is where I fought the first boss. And now it's my portal room. It's very close to my house, but back then it looked miles away. This was the first time I made a carve, but I just plopped it down in the water. The same spot is now a little fishing dock. You can see my cute tilted tree in the background, still going strong. Here is a random pic of a troll fight at the edge of the forest. And that exact spot now holds my armory. Pretty fun, right? It was all meadow and black forest back then, and now it's all crowded and connected. This is when I started construction on the Beehive flower, once again credit to the gnome 54, linked to his amazing tutorial in the description below. I really hope he returns one day. I decided to do my gardening here because this spot had a few raspberry bushes. It's still a garden, but I mainly use it for decoration nowadays. The bushes are still there. It feels so strange looking at the front of my house and having nothing in the background. It sure has come a long way, but as you can see, the bushes have survived all of it. Also, not sure if you can tell, but I tried to match the time of day with the time in the old screenshots. for immersion. Ah, the humble beginning of my gazebo craze. This was the first one I built before I decided to do another one for a tutorial almost 3 years ago. The tutorial is still there if you need it. As you can see, I've made some pink friends now. This was the view I fell in love with from my bedroom. I expanded a bit over the years, but my tilted tree is still there, always waving. I just love that the sun sets directly behind it. It makes the evenings so beautiful. Speaking of my bedroom, this is how tiny the room outside of it used to be, because I had the stairs indoors. I have so much more space now, and the theme is, you guessed it, blue, and not pink. Gasp. And this was the view from my bed. Very empty, isn't it? It's so crowded now, and I'm worried about all the upcoming stuff and if I'll even be able to fit any more things. But that's the fun of it, making it work. The kitchen is where I figured out the brood trophy decoration and I was blown away. And if you look super close in the previous screenshot, you'll see the old hearth before the rework. And yes, it's super cluttered, I know. Fun fact, that deer head has not moved since this house was built pretty much. He just gets seasonal decor from time to time. I used this room for my very first ever video 3 years ago, and things have changed quite a bit since. Now, I used to be so proud of this basement because I thought I was so clever making it underground, but it was way too tiny. It's so much better now and it has all the tools and all the storage I need. Ah, the day the neck pond was created. It was literally the first thing I wanted to do when I got a stonecutter. I had that idea in my head for ages. Some of the original necks that I dragged home are still there. This is how tiny my first dock was. I made a very small lighthouse and a boathouse, and I was using the carve for ages. It wasn't until I made the longship that I decided to redo my dock. It took me a month to tame a wolf, and I had a house waiting for him. You couldn't give them names back then, and their names stayed in red and not green. I have a lot more wolves now, and they even have chickens. At the time I built my war room, it was the highest point in my base and it was meant to overlook all of it. Nowadays, it's not even in the top 3. This location is outside of my base, overlooking a small cliff. I've expanded on it recently to say the least, and if you're curious what this table is facing nowadays, go check out the short I did for New Year's. Here's my welcome raven. Still completely unchanged from the moment I got Tar. That boy has seen some things for sure. Here's a throwback to my second Valheim video. Back then the gazebo was the only thing in that area, and now it's basically a small village. This was my sad attempt at a silo. And funnily enough, it stayed that way until literally 5 days ago, when I decided to replace it with wood instead. I built this tunnel/bridge because it was leading to a patch of blueberries in the Black Forest, and I wanted to mark the location. It's now all part of the base though. This is another look at the gazebo valley, and there is just so much more to it now. I was working on the stone road a couple of days ago actually, so it's still expanding. And this is it, the first aerial shot I took of my base when I figured out Valheim had a free fly camera option. It looks so empty, I mean, it doesn't even have a defensive wall. And lastly, here is a comparison shot between the first ever screenshot I took of my house and that pic I took earlier today on the roughly exact same spot. It just goes to show you that no matter how much time passes or how things change around you, some things remain exactly the same and are always there for you. You just gotta find the raspberries of your life. You can click away now, or you can stay and chat. Like I said, this video is just something I wanted to do for myself. Initially, I wasn't going to narrate it, but I ended up doing it just to explain what things are. I am a screenshot hoarder, and I love preserving my progress as I go along, and so should you. I really want to thank all the people and cats that work on this incredible game, the people that work on the wiki, and the entire Valheim community. It is truly wonderful to be a part of it, and if you haven't joined the Discord, you should. We can hang out in the channels, and I'm there literally 24/7. I hope you all have a wonderful spring, and thank you for watching.